and welcome to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. Kristen, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And Greg, how are you today?
I'm doing well. Things have been good. You know, the boys haven't been too crazy at the Taylor house. So, and our little dog, Belle.
Oh,
yeah, you haven't told us about Paco in a while.
Oh my gosh, he's still a mess. He's my little snuggle bug. He's always with me. He would love to be here at the studio if we would let him. But
it's so funny, Belle at night, you know, she is Kristen's dog all day long. Mm-hmm. She will stay in her little bed area if Kristen's not there, and then she'll be doing dances.
We're at the office. She'll sit behind me on my chair.
Yes, and Belle's our 3-pound teacup Yorkie.
I know, so cute.
So with that, at night, she knows that Kristen will be tempted to snuggle and bother her, so she will lay at my feet or right between my legs at night on our bed. So she's a spoiled little thing.
Like Paco is.
Paco is too.
Yeah.
I would see Paco sleeps right next to me, and if my husband gets out of bed to use the restroom and comes back, there's a major war that's going on. Paco will charge, and he's like, oh my gosh. It's hilarious. I should actually try to videotape it. But anyway, today's show is amazing because we're going to talk about something very important that people are thinking about. These are the whens in retirement. Whens. So number one, Greg, when should I consider retirement planning?
Well, I would say that, the sooner the better. Even if you're 30 years old, you should be thinking about retirement planning.
Okay.
Now, obviously, if you're 30 years old, you shouldn't necessarily be thinking about retiring, but retirement planning, because now's the time when you get that good job, you can, you got that 401k, you can start tucking money aside in your Roth 401k and building up for your future. So there's never a time too early, but by the time you are 60, you definitely need to start having, not just thinking about retirement planning, but have a retirement plan.
Okay.
Or 5 to 10 years out from retirement.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so we call that retirement red zone.
Yes.
So whether it's 55 because you're thinking about retiring at 60, or 65 because you're retiring at 70, whatever that age is, I think that 5, and didn't we come up with that because of football, something about the 5-yard line? I don't know.
Well, you're talking about fumbling the ball in the red zone. And,
we're in football season. I don't know. I try to keep up with it.
That would be the 20-yard line.
Okay, 20-yard line. I was adding the 5s. I don't know. But
okay.
Yeah, you don't want to fumble the ball. And during that 5 to 10-year mark, you really want to be cognizant of all the things we talk about every week on the show, the income planning, the investment strategy, the tax strategy, and really making sure all those things are in alignment so that you're ready when you reach that magical date.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Well, that's our first one. Kristen, when do I know I've saved enough?
Oh, that's such a hard question. And you really don't know unless you start doing that 5 to 10 year out planning, because then is when we're going to do that fact gathering and start understanding what it is that you spend. And it's really important to know what you spend while you're working, because we think that you're probably going to spend the same amount, if not more, if not 10% more when you retire, because you're going to be doing fun things. And so once we know that number, then we can know how much you need to save, because we'll start doing that equation and saying, okay, this is how much money you're going to need to replace your income when you retire. And so then we kind of work backwards and know that number, that whether it's $1 million, whether it's $2 million or more, we can start figuring that out from there.
You know, Kristen, that's why we have that resource, the 5 steps to retirement.
Yeah, right on our website.
It's right on our website. You can go download a copy and take the 5 steps, because it's going to really help you understand if you're ready.
Sure.
And just a couple of months ago, I met with a couple, and they she is wanting to retire at the end of the year. I mean, she's done. Stick a fork in her. She's like, Greg, I need out of this job.
Yeah, this is it.
And her husband realizes he needs to work 3 or 4 more years. And so we're going through this, and we're going through the 5 steps together in our office. And I had, this is the discovery meeting. And I look at them and I said, look, we did the math. We understood there was going to be a gap of about $52,000 that they're going to need to maintain the way they've been used to living. And I said, folks, look, we're going to do our analysis. We're going to do everything we can to put a plan together for you. But I just looked at her and I said, if I'm going to be honest here, I don't think it's going to be right timing for you to retire this year.
Okay.
And I could see her heart sink. I said, but I don't want to give you this false sense of security
Yeah.
and false hope. And then you come back later hating us because, yeah, we made you feel a certain way to become a client, but then you found out it wasn't really realistic.
Yeah.
So we will be real with people. And a lot of times it's, okay, great, you can retire now if you want. But sometimes it's like, okay, if you work 3 more years instead, I think we're going to be golden. And I said, if you see, instead of the end of the year, 3 years, you can still see a little light at the end of the tunnel. It's just a little blurry.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Well, I love the fact that you were honest with her and
Yes.
very transparent, because I know she appreciated that. That's always a question that people have. Am I okay to retire? So, Kristen, this next one, this is a great one too. When should I move my 401k from my former employer?
Ooh, that is a really good one. So many people have worked multiple careers in their life. You may be watching thinking, well, gosh, I have multiple 401ks.
Yes.
So, how does that look? If you have a previous employer, we call that an orphan 401k. I think whenever you feel comfortable enough to take control of that is a good time. And you can just roll it into an IRA at a brokerage account, or start the planning process. You may even be able to start your income planning process with those dollars. Now, as far as your current job goes, you have to be really careful of your age when you go to move that.
You do, and typically your current employer will not allow you to do anything with it before you're 59 and a half. Now, there is some strategy, Cynthia, when it comes to whether or not we want someone to move their 401k. So we had someone last year come on board. They were retiring early. They were retiring at 57. And so we did the income plan. We did all the things that we normally do, but they hadn't saved much in their sleep well at night money. So it was all in tax deferred accounts. So they only had about $5,000 in the bank.
Okay.
So what I did in this case, because they were 2.5 years from being past the 10% penalty for IRAs, taking out of the account before you're 59 and a half. So because they were 2.5 years from that, I had them leave $100,000 in the 401k for emergencies.
Okay.
Because there is a rule, if you take your distribution from a qualified plan, which is a 401k, 403b, 457 deferred comp, any of those plans, and you're retired, if you're at least 55, you don't pay the 10% excise tax.
Okay.
But if you pull it from an IRA, you will. So in this case, we rolled a good chunk of it into the IRA for their long-term income plan, but we then kept $100,000 there for needs, wants, and emergencies for the next 2.5 years.
So there's some
Wow.
coordination efforts that get involved with that.
All right. That's perfect.
So you have
What
to
a
know
great
those things
idea.
in order to plan for those things.
It all comes down to proper planning. And Greg, I know there's a very special offer that you and Kristen are going to be offering our lovely viewers at home. Let's talk about what that is.
Because when should you call right now?
You're a
But
dork.
614-336-7660, what are we offering? We're offering you our complete planning review. There's never a cost. There's never an obligation for this. What we want to do is we want our team to help you organize everything so that you can retire with confidence. And that means you're going to get a full assessment from our investment team and our certified financial planners that work behind the scenes to help make sure that we really know what's going on in your portfolio. We're going to do an income plan specific to you. Tax strategies, we'll discuss those and how you handle Uncle Sam when it comes to your retirement plan. Healthcare, don't let the healthcare expenses derail your retirement, and whatever's left behind, let's get that to the people you love. We don't want Uncle Sam, the probate court, or attorneys getting a big chunk of what you leave behind. So we need to have that plan in place, the complete planning review. No obligation, just give us a call now.
Greg, thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, when is the right time to call? Right now, 614-336-7660. You deserve to have a planning review so that you know that your retirement plan is designed to suit your needs, to make sure that you have the right process in place for your perfect, comfortable retirement. Again, 614-336-7660. If you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab that. Click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Greg and Kristen's landing page. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're talking about whens in retirement. Stay tuned.
I'm sometimes nervous when I don't know exactly what to expect. I find that there's a little hesitation in folks to want to go meet with an advisor. Maybe they're not sure of how they've done compared to others, but it's really our job to just sit down and have a conversation. There's an advisor for almost every street corner here in our city. At Legacy Retirement Group, we believe that if you plan smart, you can retire well. We want you to be successful in any economy. And how do you accomplish that in today's world? Well, we first want to look at the principles by which we're playing. You know, no investment decision should ever be made outside the context of your plan. Then your plan determines your positions and what you hold in retirement. We want you to manage risk. We want you to not be surprised by healthcare costs or inflation or taxes. We don't want those to derail your retirement, and our focus has always been consistency and efficiency. Really trying to maintain what it is that we've spent our lifetime accumulating and now transitioning that into a plan, transitioning that into something that feels secure and gives me peace of mind so that I know I'm not going to outlive my money. It's nice to see that relief in people's faces when you can tell they're confident in their plan.
Greg really gets pleasure out of seeing our client's success.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group, and we're talking about whens in retirement. Kristen, this next one, when do I change my investment allocations for retirement? When?
Oh, that's a good question, because the reason for that question would be the risk, right? How do I know when to change my risk within my portfolio accounts? I was scrolling. I'm going to admit a thing that I do here that's kind of bad. I scroll on the Reels on Instagram. Do you ever do that?
Sometimes.
And apparently that's not cool. You're supposed to do it on TikTok. I don't do TikTok.
I don't do TikTok
But
either,
I was
so.
scrolling through these Reels and I found this video, and Greg will laugh at me at night when he's watching me watch these videos. It's like America's Home Videos, America's Funniest Home
Okay,
Videos.
yeah.
That's what shows up on mine, and I loved that show when I was growing up. So this one pops up of this guy eating the hottest pepper on earth.
Okay.
I don't remember which
Like
one
the
it
little
was.
tiny one that-
Yeah,
yeah.
it was supposedly the hottest pepper. He had a few regular peppers, and this is hot, and he said he loved the taste of hot stuff, and it didn't affect him, and he could do it. And so he takes a bite out of this pepper, and then it cuts to a video of him at the ER. And this is so bad to laugh at.
my
I feel embarrassed. I'm
gosh.
laughing. But he's like, yeah, that wasn't a good idea. That was not what I expected it to be.
Oh, my
And I
gosh.
think that portfolios can be like that, right? Because you have your appetite, what you think you want,
Yeah.
and then you have the affordability of it. So he thought he wanted that hot pepper, but his stomach couldn't handle it. I guess he had to have something done because
Oh,
it was so
wow.
hot. It really
Probably
affected
neutralizing.
him.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And risk can do that, right, Greg?
Yes, it can. And sometimes it's not always alignment between a husband and a wife as to how much risk.
Yes.
know, so-
It's not the same for us.
It isn't. It isn't. And Kristen's actually riskier than I am.
But then I don't like it.
Risky business.
But
that is cute.
But that's important to point out because I like the risk, but then I get really upset when I have the downside of it. We should talk about that deviation.
You do. And so it's sometimes really hard to put your finger on how much risk you're comfortable with as far as when you fill out those little, suitability forms for brokerage firms, and they're asking all these random questions, but they're there for a purpose. So we developed or didn't develop, but we use a program called Riskalyze.
Okay.
And somewhere between 1 and 99 is a risk score. 1 means that, if you just hear the word stock market, you start, breaking out in a cold sweat.
Okay.
And at 99, if you lost 80%, you want to know where you can go buy more.
Okay.
So most people aren't either of those two extremes. We have a few that are at the one extreme, but not very many. And I've never had a 99 yet. So wherever you stand, it's hard to determine if you just say conservative, moderate, or aggressive. That's such a wide range because conservative could be a 1, but it could be a 30. Moderate could be a 45, or it could be a 55. Aggressive could be a 60 or a 70 or an 80, or it could be a 95. So it's such a wide range. So we try to really zero in. And what the real measurement is we ask people a series of questions. So in our conference room, I'll say, are you ready for your financial eye exam?
I love that.
And so we start off with how much risk someone's comfortable taking in a 6-month period.
Okay.
And then from there, let's just say, well, I had a couple in the office last week, and they were at 12% based on their portfolios. They said, okay, we're comfortable if it went up 12% in a 6-month period or if it went down 12% in a 6-month period. So that's where we started.
Okay.
So then I said, okay, what if we can improve that? If we can improve that, on the left side, it'll say, well, we'll take the same 12% growth, but now we're going to reduce the risk. The right side will say, well, we'll take the same 12% downside, but we'll give you more returns. So which looks better to you? Do you like the same return with less risk or the same risk with more return? And some people will say, well, it's obvious, the same return with less risk. The next person will come in, well, it's obvious, the same risk with more return. Well, to them, it was obvious.
Absolutely.
And through that process, we develop a risk score.
Okay.
So if someone is, say, a risk score of 45, then we then monitor their current portfolio to see, okay, what is the risk score of what you're doing?
Okay.
And we have to address the when as well.
Well,
So
the
when
when.
should you adjust it?
When should you? Well, immediately if you're not in line with where you really should be.
Sure.
So now if you're 30 years old, you can afford
Right.
a lot more risk because your timeline, right?
Absolutely.
So you assess and then you look at your timeline.
Correct. The affordability and the comfortability. Because if you're going to lose sleep at night, even if you're 30, if you're going to lose sleep at night because how volatile it is, then maybe you need to be a little less aggressive. And really, for us, we don't, people say, well, Greg, what would you do? Well, it doesn't matter what I would do. I'm not you. I'm not the one, it's not my money. I'm just here to help you facilitate your plan.
And you can't go by just the rule of thumb, the old rule of thumb of 100.
No, because if you just go by the rule of thumb, then it may not be appropriate for you. So when, I would say right away.
Okay.
Now, we don't do assessments, we don't do planning for people that are in their 30s or in their 40s. That's not Legacy Retirement Group. Those folks need a different type of planner. And henceforth, those that have been using the same planner maybe for 20 or 30 years, now they're getting to the point where they might need a different set of eyes on it.
It's true.
So when, I would say right away, if you're especially, 60 or older, right away you should
assess
have
it.
an assessment done just to see where you stand.
Well, Greg, I know that you and Kristen have a very special offer to present the viewers at home. Let's talk about what that is once again.
Well, for this part of the show, I'm going to offer the Portfolio X-ray.
Okay.
Because that's where our team really digs in and helps people understand what risk they're actually taking. So get that risk score and get that understanding. And we have an entire team of investment professionals that, look, I don't do this all on my own. I have an entire team, and we have the certified financial planners that behind the scenes will test your portfolio. Then we'll do the assessment to see what your risk should be and make sure that everything lines up. And if it doesn't, we can make adjustments to make sure that you're in line with where you should be.
Greg, thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, that number is 614-336-7660. What you're being offered during this segment of the show, of course, is the Portfolio X-ray. Let Greg and Kristen take a look to see if you're taking too much risk and if your current portfolio fits your goals and your dreams for retirement. And if not, wouldn't you want to have that adjusted today? Don't miss the opportunity to call in and take advantage of this Portfolio X-ray at 614-336-7660. Or if you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab it, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Greg and Kristen's landing page. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. We have more When's in Retirement when we return.
birthday party for Carol in 5. Happy birthday to you.
Good morning, Ben. Happy Monday.
Daryl's birthday, be there every square. Happy birthday to you. You can see from our quarterly report on slide number 62, we're trending in the right direction. All signs point to a very positive outlook for the next several years. If you peel back the onion...
Ben, do you have anything to add?
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement TV. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. This is a fun show, Wins in Retirement.
Yes.
So this next one, Greg, I'm going to put you in the hot seat. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. When should I start taking Social Security benefits?
Well, that's a great question. I do have a win, though. When do I start winning, our arguments?
Never. Even when you win, you lose.
That's true. That is true.
That is true. Okay.
Oh, my goodness. But when should I start taking Social Security? Well, unless you're on disability, the earliest you can take it is age 62. So that's a big dilemma. If you're 62 and you're still working, I don't really encourage you to take it because you can only make around $20,000 a year. And otherwise, you have to start giving above that. You have to start giving back $1 for every $2 above that you make. So it doesn't really make sense. You're not really going to benefit much if you take that early at 62 if you're continuing to work and make more than $20,000 a year.
Okay.
Plus, you're losing out on the 8% per year roll-up by delaying your benefit. However, if you're going to work to age 67, then 67 for people that are 60 right now would be their full retirement age.
Okay.
And then at that age 67, you can make as much as you want with Social Security and not have to give any back. But again, if you're going to retire then that may be a good time to take it.
Okay.
You can delay until you're 70 to maximize your benefit. But the trouble with delaying if you're retired is that you have to spend your money while you're taking the time and delaying to take their money.
Okay.
And it can make it very difficult to ever catch up if you're spending yours while you're waiting to take theirs.
Okay.
But if you're still working beyond age 67, then you have to ask yourself, does it make sense to go ahead and take it? I've had some clients come in and we talked about it. And for them, they had some debt they wanted to pay off. So when the husband was going to work till 70 anyway, when he was 67, he decided to take his benefit and he took all his Social Security income and he paid off debt with it.
Okay.
Which helps for future cash flow.
Right.
And that's an important part of the equation because retirement lifestyle is really about the cash flow. That's what makes or breaks it. So
Right.
sometimes it makes sense to pay those debts off.
Sure.
So that you have less outgo monthly, less money you need to generate to pay yourself in retirement, more available to grow. So we start looking at all those things. There's so many moving parts. It's like chess almost,
It
right?
is. It really is. And so if both a husband and wife are full retirement age right now with the new rules, because a lot of the claiming strategies that we used 10 years ago are no longer available. So, but there is a strategy we can use, and I'm using it with one couple now. They were both full retirement age and the wife was retiring. So she claimed her Social Security benefit.
Okay.
The husband was going to continue to work for another year and a half, so he claimed a spousal benefit and got half of hers while he delayed his. So he kept
Smart.
working, so he was able to still get half of her benefit, and then when and her benefit, she didn't earn near as much in her working years. So when he turned 70 and claims his full benefit, then she'll be able to claim half of his ordinary full retirement benefit and get more than she's getting now.
Wow.
So it's really an interesting claiming strategy way of doing it. So it's not a one-size-fits-all at all, but it is an important part of your overall retirement income plan. Social Security, in many cases, is the biggest part.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's one of the biggest parts for a lot of people because pensions are not as existent as they were 20 years
Correct.
ago. Used to be everyone had a pension. Now,
Yes.
you know, you might have a small one from some job you had 10 years ago, but Social Security really is the main piece of the puzzle that we're looking at. Even if you're a high income earner, have a lot of money saved, you still want to maximize that benefit that you've paid into all these
absolutely.
years. Yeah.
Absolutely, that makes perfect sense. So what it comes down to always is true, proper planning to determine the whens in retirement.
It really does, because the lifeblood of your retirement is your income. That's your lifestyle, that's paying the bills, that's going to spoil the grandchildren, that's taking your trips. All that is based on income. So getting your income settled is one of the most important things. You know, investments, yes, that's important, but the income, absolute necessity to have that planning for retirement.
Well, Greg, I know that you and Kristen have a very special offer to present to the viewers at home today. Let's talk about what that is before we say goodbye.
Well, since income is the most important aspect of your retirement plan, I'm going to offer a written income plan. Anyone that calls today, so you can call anytime today to our office, 614-336-7660, or you can go to legacyretirementgroup.com and you can schedule a time to meet with us, and we will provide for you and your family a written income plan.
Greg, thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, most specifically, thank you for spending time with us today. What you're being offered right now is the written income plan, and that's so important to know where you're going to stand for your retirement. You deserve to have the retirement of your dreams. Greg and Kristen want you to win in retirement. So please take advantage of this opportunity today. 614-336-7660. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back here 1 week from today on Winning Retirement TV with Greg and Kristen Taylor. Take care now. Thank you for watching.